Hi guys, my name is Saurav and today we are going to perform database cloning using RMAN. And before we perform this activity, let's discuss about its requirements. In real world, what happens like we get requests from the developers asking to replicate the prod environment for the dev or test environments. And as a DBA, this is a very handy way. This cloning of database is a very handy way to replicate a prod environment for the for the development and testing um, boxes. Okay, it is also required at times for creating standby databases, but that doesn't fall into this scope of activities. I might be creating a video completely dedicated for a standby database. So before Okay, so let's start with the activity. And the environment that I'm going to use is a virtual box. It's Oracle Virtual Box, and I'm going to use 12C database to perform this activity. But the steps going to remain the same in case you're performing it for 11G databases. Okay. All right. Let's start. I'm going to connect to my VirtualBox database server. Okay, and again, one other thing would be that um, the duplicate database that I'm going to perform right now is going to be on the same server. Okay, it's going to be the same server and same Oracle home. However, on real world, this is not probably required. In real world, we might have like two boxes, or rather, we will have two boxes. That should be the whole purpose. Like the database should be created on a different box, the duplicate database. In the steps that I'm going to perform, I'm going to mention wherever it's required and whatever things needs to be done in case you're using two boxes, and the rest everything will remain the same. Okay, so the database that I'm running is SNDBXP01. Okay, let me quickly log in to this database. Okay, that's the database, and it's an archive log mode. All right, so to begin with, the first step would be to create a P file for my clone database. So let's see what is this database on P file or SP file. Okay, we are running on SP file, so let's create the P file. Okay, you can create anywhere, but then since I'm using the same home and the same server, so I'll prefer to you know um, I'll prefer to keep my P file on the same Oracle home directory, but you can create anywhere in case you're using like two boxes, because once you've created the P file and made the changes, you anyways have to move the P file from this box to the um, to the different box where you need to clone. Okay, so let's see. So let's name the database like ytdb dot aura from sp file. All right, so let's come out of it and edit this particular file. All right, we need this p file to start up the duplicate database, the cloned database. So we need to replace the name, all the places where it has got SNDBXP01. We have to replace it with YTDB. Okay, so let's see, SNDBXP01 slash YTDB. All right, so we are done. It says 9 substitution has been made. Okay, we're good. So, all right, once the names have been changed to our new database that we are going to create, we need to add two new parameters to this. That is db file name convert Um, we need to, this is basically required to convert your existing database file name to the new database file name. So the name should be um, sndbxp01, comma, my new database, ytdb01, oh, 01. Okay, so that's the name of my database, ytdb. And this is for log file, this is for db file name. We have to put another parameter for log file name. And I'll basically copy and paste this. Okay. Okay. To explain this a little bit more, how DB file name convert and log file name convert happens from one name to another is that, say for example, my existing database, say for example, the system data file that I have might be on D01 Aura data sndbxp01 slash system 01.tbf. Say for example, this is what the actual location is. All right. So on the different box on the auxiliary. Okay. All right. To ensure that I explain the boxes and environments correctly, I'm going to use the source, this particular prime database where my existing database is, as the target database, and the box where I'm going to duplicate the database, I'm going to use as auxiliary database. Using the terminology used by RMAN. Okay. So this particular file uh, resides on my target database, and I'm on my auxiliary database. I'm going to use uh, this path, okay, ytdb slash system 01.dbf. Okay, so if this file structure is already created on both the source and the target. Okay, this naming convention from SNDBXP01 will automatically get converted to YTDB. Okay, if you are using this, right? So this particular parameter will actually help Oracle to identify that if there is a data file by this name, it will on the auxiliary side, it will automatically transform into this file. Okay. Um, Now there is a catch, okay? In most of the environments that I've worked, I know that the data files have a naming convention in respect to the name of the database, okay? But just in case, this is how it is, okay? This is how it is on the target database. This is the system file, and on the source, this is what you're expecting. This is not going to work using this, okay? Yeah, it's going to work. I mean, you have to write it in a different way. So in that scenario, you probably have to mention the entire path. So it should be like this. Um, it should be like this. You have to probably mention the entire path like this. Okay. And to complicate the entire scenario, like if every other data file on the source is different, say for example, like on the target database, the next data file is on like this in this place, audio slash sysox 01.tpf. If it's in this place and you're expecting this should go to slash d02 slash aura data ytdb slash sysox. If you're expecting this to happen, all right, for this 02 data file, this thing is not going to work at all, right? For that, there's a new parameter comes as um, set new name data file, all right. So you have to use that particular parameter on the RMAN prompt when you're performing the duplicate. So I'm not going to go with that because you hardly and you rarely see this kind of an environment, and mostly you will find that the file structures are pretty much the same. Okay, so just make sure, and this remains the same with log file name convert as well. It happens the very same way, just like we have it in data guard in with the data files. Okay, so let me get rid of this. All right. Uh, okay. Okay. So this is all that we require. Okay. And we are going to save the changes. And the next step after updating the SP file is that we have to create the directory structure. Okay. Now before I go ahead, this is where uh, people who are working with two boxes, we have to like SCP this particular file. So basically, once you have made changes to this particular P file, okay, so just SCP this to wherever you feel like, okay, new server colon and then wherever the path is, okay, like this, okay. So if you execute this, so it will copy all the way to the new server. Okay, I don't want to move it anywhere else because this is where my new database is also going to be hosted. Okay. All right. Once we have the P file created and moved to the new box, okay, we need to ensure that all the directory structures are created. So let me create the directory structure. People who are using a different box, they need to ensure that on the auxiliary box, they have to create all this directory structure. Okay. So I see the audit dump destination. So I'm going to create all of them. Okay. And archive log location. Missed a space over here. Okay, so I'm creating one, two, three, four directories for them. Okay, and not only these four, we also need, as I earlier said about DB file name convert and log file name convert. I need to ensure that whatever file structures are there for the data files and the read log files, those should be also available on the auxiliary server. Okay, so this is the same. I mean, for me, auxiliary and target remains the same, so I need to ensure that. Let me quickly check what are the location. So select file name from DBA data files. Okay, so that's my data file. Let me also check for the temporary file. Okay, that's my temporary file, and from $log file. Those are the read log files, and control file doesn't really require because I've explicitly mentioned it on the P file. Okay, so these are the control file location. So I have already created the directory structure over here already. Okay, so all right, so this is um, this is the actual path for my data file. So I will check whether I have the new file. I've actually already created before starting this video, so I'll just show it to you guys. Um, okay, you see this file is this directory is already created. Um, I'm not showing for all of them, but yes, this is how I've already created. But yeah, you have to create the respective directories. Wherever you see this sndbxp01, you have to replace it with ytdb and you can create them. Okay. All right. Once the directory structures are created, you have to now on the auxiliary box for people who are using two boxes. And on auxiliary box, you have to create the orapwd file. Okay, so let's go in here, Oracle home slash dbs. And before I proceed any further, I just remember something. On the if you guys who are using like two boxes to perform this activity, on the auxiliary box, before you perform any of these activities, you first need to ensure that you have the Oracle binaries or the Oracle home installed completely. Okay, so mean, you can also perform a Oracle home cloning. That is again not a part of this video. I'm going to plan a different video to how to clone the Oracle home as well. Okay, so either you clone it or you can create an Oracle home from scratch using DVCA. And once that's done, you can perform all the activities. Okay, so I'm assuming that we have an Oracle home configured on the target server. All right, for me right now doesn't matter because I'm using the same Oracle home. Okay. Moving ahead, I have to create a password file for the new database. Reason being, while perform the RMAN cloning, I have to connect to auxiliary database, and I need to have a connection string, okay, where I would be passing in the password. So I need to pass in the sys password. So for that, I need to create a DB file, okay. Sorry, or a PWD file or a password file. Okay, so let's create one. Aura PWD. And also, like, I've already done this, so I already have that password file, right? So, but still, I'm going to create a new one, right? So Aura PWD file equals Aura PW YTDB password equal to welcome1234 and equals 5. Okay. Now, if I hit enter to this, this is what I get an error. As I said, I've already created this file. If I already have created this file and I need to override the new file, I just need to put another parameter like this, okay, and it creates the same file. Okay, so if you're creating for the first time, the first command should work just fine. Okay, so now we have the p file ready, we have the password file ready. All right, so let's go to the auxiliary database and perform this activity. Okay, so on the auxiliary database, we need to ensure that we have the environment set the way I have set it over here. On the bash profile, you can use the same bash profile over there, or you can create a dedicated environment file and source that file to ensure that your um, Oracle variables are set. Okay, so in my scenario, I have the same variable actually works fine. Only thing would be my Oracle SID. So I'm going to set that to YTDB. Okay, and let's connect to SQL Plus. Okay, um, our main interest would be this line, that is, it says connected to an idle instance. Um, is because the database is not up anyways. Okay, you can ignore this because it's running one of my logging SQL script, so it's giving all this error because it's not able to connect anyways. Okay, so in your environment you will only get this file, you will not get this error. Okay, I know why this error coming, because the logging file is trying to execute certain information, so it's not able to do it because the database is down. Okay, so now that our database is we have connected to the instance, let's bring up the instance on no mount state. Okay, and we are going to use this same p file. Okay, the p file would be ORTBA Oracle product 12.1.2 TBS net YTDB. Okay, so our instance is right now up. Okay, if we check pmon, uh, if we check the pmon, it should say like right now 2 instances are running. Okay, okay, so once this is done, we can get back to our um, our uh, our source database. Okay, and before we proceed any further, we need to ensure a few things, like we need to update the listener file as well as the TNS names files. I just missed that part. I have just started this database, So I'd like to bring it down. Okay. So on both the source and target, we need to ensure that the TNS names and the listener.ora files are updated. I have already done it. So let's go into our TNS file. Okay, you see, I've already updated my TNS entry, and I have also updated my listener.ora. Okay, all right, listener.ora is also there. I have not done it for the target database, that is SNDBX. Reason being, it's not really required, but for the auxiliary database, it is required because during this during this cloning activity, um, RMAN is going to connect to that database when it is shut down. Okay, so if it's shut down, listener would not be able to figure out whether this database exists. So we have to explicitly mention this. Okay, all right. So once you update this, please ensure to reload your listener or or stop and start it. So lsnrctl reload is what you can use. Okay, and if you check the status, lsnrctl status. Okay, yeah, it is showing just fine. Okay, and and it's going to show you unknown. The reason why it will show unknown is cause uh, cause you have explicitly mentioned it. All right, so that's the reason it's showing you unknown. The ready state for SNDBX is obvious because the database is up and running and it's listening to that port. But the YTDB database is not up. All right, once it's up, you will see two instances. All right, one will show unknown, another will show ready. Okay. All right, so you can reload them. Okay, so let's export the Oracle SID and let's connect again. And again, we are connected to an idle instance. And now let's start the database. I'm trying to copy the previous start command. Okay. All right. So let's start it on no mount using the P file. Okay. All right. So the startup of database is obviously on the auxiliary side, and at this state we have updated the TNS names for both the target and auxiliary database on the respective Oracle boxes, that is target and auxiliary, and also the listener files are updated on both the servers, and also they have been bounced, that is stop and started, or you can also perform reload. Okay. So now that we are done, we can connect to RMAN. Okay, you can use a slash only if you're executing this command on the target database. Okay, where OS authentication takes up. Okay, and auxiliary is slash welcome 1234 at YTTV. Okay. All right, before I proceed any further, I'd like to say we have got two ways of duplicating it. One would be the regular duplicate target database command, all right, and another would be to duplicate target database to whatever the name is from an active database. What's the difference really if you're not using from active database? Well, if you're not using from active database, that is, you're executing duplicate target database to YTDB is what the command is. Um, RMAN will actually go and try to look into my existing databases backups. That is, SNDB XP01 should have backups. If it doesn't have backup, it will throw an error and tell you that it needs to have a backup. Okay, so you have to go back, take a backup, and then start this activity. And if you're performing duplicate target database to YTDB from active database, this is what the command is. Um, Irrespective of whether you have backups or not for SNDBX P01, um, it is eventually going to, copy the entire database files. Okay, so it will be a copy of database files completely. So no backups are really required. If you have it, it's fine, but if you don't have, it will copy the entire database file. So that is the basic difference if you're using from active database. Okay, and why I stopped here is because if you're using for active database, using active database, you need to explicitly use the username and password for the target database as well. Okay, well, that's the password for my target database, sndbxp01, sndbxp01. Okay, so this is what the command is. All right, so we are connected to our target database and we are also connected to our auxiliary database. In case you have a catalog database, you can also put a catalog parameter and put in the username parameter and the connection string as well. Okay, so we'll actually execute a run block. So this is how the command should be. Um, allocate channel tar1. That's the name of the channel. You can give it any name. Device type disk. I'm allocating two channels. It's not required, but in case you have a bigger database, you can always add on multiple channels to ensure that the duplication takes place faster. Okay, and also we need to we need to allocate auxiliary channel. I'm going to name it aux1. You can name it anything you feel like. Okay, duplicate target database. This is the actual command, duplicate target database 2 yttb from active database. That should be it. Okay, and in this the command that we used for connecting to RMAN, we have actually specified explicitly the username password along with the service name for both target and auxiliary. So practically you can execute this particular command from either way, from the target or the auxiliary database. Both are going to run fine. Okay, and whatever output you see in here, this is going to be identical same in case you're using 11G. Okay. Okay, since we performed that DB file name convert, okay, you see, this is what it is happening because of DB file name convert. Okay, if you do not have DB file name convert, or as I said, you have got different using different um, name of the files, and they do not have the Oracle database name mentioned as a part of that file, so you probably have to execute this particular command: set new name for data file 1 to whatever name you feel like, and this way it should go on. So since my structures are same, only the name is different. This part is different. So it has already been taken care by RMAN. And over here also you can see that restoring data file this to this. All right. No backup pieces are involved over here. So why this is happening is because um, we are performing from active database. This is what the command we have used. If we had not used this particular phrase, uh, RMAN would be looking for backups from SNDBX-P01. Mine is just a test database. It's practically an empty database. Nothing's there, so shouldn't take much time. I'm going to fast forward this part. Okay, so our duplicate database activity is now completed. Okay. We see this last line. It says cannot remove created server parameter file. This is just fine. Okay. So basically, it has created a parameter file, server parameter file that is SP file, and and we are okay to have that SP file. So that's fine. Okay. So if I exit and let's see if we have the Oracle environment for the new database. Okay, it's already there. So if I connect right now, okay. So that's my new database. Uh, it's in open mode, read write. It's also in archive log and rest. We have it. So let's check few information. Select file name from TBA data files. Select file name from TBA temp files. Okay, so we have all new file structures. Select member from log file. Select name from control. Okay, so that's it. We have new control files, we have new log files, and the temp file and the data file as well. Okay, and also let's see. Okay, list. All right, so alter system switch log file. Okay, all right, log switches are happening just fine. Okay, good. So that's bring that brings to the end of this video, and we have successfully cloned an existing database to a new database. So we can use this particular new database for any purpose now. And okay, so yeah, two instances running. So that should be it. And once this is done, just make sure that you update the EDC Aura tab. Okay, this should be done on the auxiliary database, people who are using the two servers for this. Okay, so let me do the same. YTDB. Okay, that should be it. Okay, if you have an auto restart configured where databases are restarted automatically when the server comes up, this entry is very required. Okay, so that should be it. We are all good. Okay, so hope this helps, and let me know your comments, and until next time, take care.